The IT sector results, a mob violence in the manufacturing sector, and a new presidency for India. These are just some of the critical developments of the week. And to give us further perspective and understanding of what social, political and economic implications these issues can have, I have with me in the studio Sukumar. Thanks a lot, Sukumar, for being with us. So let me start with the IT sector. We had the results of two more firms. We had HCL and we had Wipro. And quite a similar trend. HCL has shown that it has had growth in all verticals, whereas Wipro has not had volume growth, even as compared to Infosys has lower volume growth. So is it fair to say that this entire bellwether theory cannot be called sustainable, is not sustainable any longer?
I would guess so. It's very difficult to look at one company as being representative of the sector as a whole now. And I think the main reason for this is if you look at the large companies, if you look at what are called the tier 1 companies, each one of them is distinct in their own way. And none of them is really representative of the industry. So as it typically happens, some of them will do far better than industry. Some of them will probably not do as well as industry. So you have to go beyond the bellwether concept, which means you really have to look at global trends in IT spending, what companies are spending on, the kind of business needs they face, and as a result, the kind of technology spending that they will be doing. You'll have to look at macro technology trends. The move to cloud, for instance, was one of these trends. So you'll have to derive your understanding of how the sector is going to grow from those factors and not from the performance of one company. So I think the concept of the bellwether is gone.
I think I'll take this question from the fact that you mentioned about cloud computing. Now, it's literally changed the ecosystem within which IT companies and the IT sector really, worked. So how do you think the IT sector is going to move towards or accept these new technologies and non-linear modes of working?
See, for cloud is one of those things that can be either the best friend of the Indian IT sector or it could be its worst enemy. It all depends on how the industry really leverages it. To put it very simply, a cloud is the perfect distillation of a concept which has been doing the rounds of the software industry for many years, software as a service, which means the software resides somewhere else, the data resides somewhere else. You don't really have to have all the physical infrastructure. You just use it when you need to use it, and you hopefully pay for it when you need to. Depending on your usage, you don't pay for the whole thing, right? Yeah. It's like typically what happens is, you rent a 30,000 square foot penthouse in Mumbai. You have to pay for all 30,000 square foot of it, irrespective of whether you use 200 square feet or you use more. But software is not like that. But for a long time, pricing models were very similar to the 30,000 square foot penthouse model. So I think the cloud enables the perfect delivery of software as a service. So companies can really use it to their advantage. It's interesting you mentioned non-linear because the Indian IT sector has really been looking at a non-linear growth model for the last 12 years, ever since Y2K, the millennium bug, all the projects arising from that, ever since that ended. And I don't think they've gotten anywhere with that. So the cloud obviously offers one option of that kind of nonlinear growth.
So given this, what sort of growth do you speculate for the IT sector? You have companies doing relatively well, if not good, and there are some companies that are not able to actually work on the volume growth, and the revenue streams are obviously getting cut out because of the economic situation outside. What sort of image do you get in mind when you look at the IT sector given the next decade?
It will grow, but this 20%, 30% growth that you used to see at some point in time, I think those days are over unless you're really a mid-sized company. Because I think one story which has also gone relatively unexplored in this huge brouhaha over the performance of the top 5 or the top 6 companies is the fact that a lot of mid-level companies have actually grown at 20%, 25%, 30%. But One reason for that could also be their size, right? Because I think when you're that size, it is possible to grow. When you're that size, it is possible to enter into nimble contracts and things like that. The thing about technology, and any technology, right? It's not just software, even hardware. Over time, costs go down, right? Always. Costs will never increase over time. So the value of contracts, if the work remains the same, will have to go down. So it's up to the smart companies to figure out extra things that they can do for customers, more value-added things that they can do for customers, uh, to come up with better pricing models through which they can charge their customers. You know, the milestone-related payments, outcome-related payments, all these are things that we've heard of. So that will need to happen. But beyond that, I'm not willing to put my neck on the line and posit a number. You know, it will grow, but whether it will grow by 20%, it'll never grow by 20%. Will it grow by 10% or 12%? I don't know, but it will grow.